We're live. Oh my gosh. So, hi,
G'day.
Dave.
Hey, Robin, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are
Awesome.
you?
Yeah, really good. Really happy to be here.
Yeah. So, you guys, I'm super excited tonight. My name's Robin Heron. I am your carnivorous grandma. And welcome back to another episode of Carnivorous Grandma Speaks. And I am here with the interviewer of interviewers, Dave Mack, the Dave Mack. We're gonna put that "the" on the front of there. And so I'm so thankful to you, Dave. So, Dave,
Mm.
how did you find carnivore?
That's a very interesting question. So to summarize, I found carnivore through keto. I was doing keto to control a drinking problem and to try and work on my pre-diabetes. And doing keto, I was incorporating a small amount of non-starchy veggies into every meal. And now that I was doing that, I discovered that having had previously completely ultra-processed diet before that, now that I was incorporating the veggies, I realized that plants were trying to kill me. And the assassination attempts would take place after every meal, very quickly after every meal. And
Mhm.
so I started looking for a solution and heard a lot of people talking about how, you know, plants are trying to kill you and you don't need plants and all that kind of thing. And I thought, well, I'm not married to the plants. I'm only eating the veggies because people tell me I need the vitamin C and the phytonutrients. And so I thought I'll try giving them up, and the problems I was having went away, and so keto became carnivore, and that's about 3.5 years ago now.
Wow, that's awesome. I think it's so interesting, Dave, about these plants. They really, really are making us sick. Like,
Mm.
who knew? Because I feel like people believe, as I think Aid is saying here, that a whole food plant based is the way to superior health and enlightenment. People believe that, right? Because we've
Right.
really been conditioned to believe that veganism, if you can be a vegetarian, you are doing the most, you're doing the best, right? But if you can go vegan, you have really reached the elite of what we are supposed to be eating. So the idea that that plants are really, really making us pretty sick it's kind of foreign for folks.
Right. But the thing is, it's a little bit like I don't know, if you were if you were told from when you were born that there is a superior form of life living on, I don't know, where it's impossible to live, Venus. There's a superior form of life living on Venus, and everyone in your entire life always reinforced that message.
Hmm.
You would never think anything, like you would never think to doubt that, right? Because you
Right.
can't see it for yourself. So you would think, well, obviously.
Hmm.
And I think it's the same with plants. You're told from when you're born, eat your veggies, eat your veggies, eat your veggies. Your mum and dad are like tearing their hair out trying to get you to eat the mashed carrots or whatever when you're growing up.
Right.
And, but then when you actually step back and you look at it and you go, yeah, well, they would have a lot of toxins in them. And that probably doesn't agree with us. And oh, yeah, when you look at a dog, the only reason a dog eats any plant matter is to make itself sick, right?
Hmm.
If it's not
Hmm.
feeling well, right?
Yep.
Like when they're eating grass. And then the same thing goes for if you thought about life on Venus, if you actually like step away from everyone telling you it is something that is true, and you go, hang on, it's pretty hot there, isn't it? Like life wouldn't be able to exist there. So it's
Hmm.
it's kind of the same thing.
That's really good. That's like I mean, it really is a paradigm shift, honestly. I know for myself, as I think about back to my keto days, my struggle was I could not stay on keto. Like once the all those keto treats and things started coming in, I would lose my whole mind all the time and be like, turning around, like, gained all back all my weight. I
Mm.
was struggling to stay on it, because I feel like, of course, the plant sugars, and the because I wasn't eating, I wasn't eating sugar,
Right.
but the plants they would just push me right off the rails.
Mm. Um, yeah, I started with Atkins back in the day. More than 2 decades ago, I tried Atkins for the first time. And, the Atkins bars are the things that threw me off initially,
Mhm.
apart from everyone telling me I was gonna kill myself. But, like, so apparently a diet of only naturally occurring things, including plants, like all the people that are so, pro vegan and all this kind of thing, they're like, "You're gonna die. There's
Mhm.
no way that all these naturally occurring foods are gonna let you live." Um, but yeah, it was the Atkins bars, and I still remember the taste of this one really quite big, actually, Atkins chocolate bar,
Mm.
and like I tried it, and I'm like, "This is amazing! You mean I can
Can
eat
eat
all
this?
this stuff and
Yes.
still be low carb? This is awesome." And,
Mhm.
I'd be sitting there watching a movie with like 6 or 7 of these
Oh my
things, thinking I was like doing the best thing I could possibly do for my
Mm.
health.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
of course, the weight's just piling
Yes,
on and yeah.
exactly. Mhm. Mine was the Quest bar. There was this Quest bar that was a blueberry cobbler. That thing was so good. That thing was so good, but yeah, I mean, those, keto treats were really damaging. I
Mm,
felt like
mm.
the Atkins induction phase was the holy grail. Well, come to find out it actually
Right.
was, right?
Well, I mean, because basically, I mean, Atkins induction, and that's what I stayed on all the time until I discovered the
Mm,
Atkins bars.
mhm.
That's pretty much carnivore. Like, that's
Yes.
more restrictive than keto.
Yes, it is. Yep,
Yeah.
it really, really
And
is, yeah.
no wonder I felt so good when I was doing that.
Same here. I mean, I felt like that, but according to the book, you're supposed to increase your carbs. You only could stay in ketosis for 2 weeks, and then you had to increase your carbs, climb the carb ladder. And climbing the carb ladder was
I
dangerous.
I've got a confession to make.
Okay.
I never read past the induction phase. Like, I read that bit, and then it all started like, when I started the rest of it, it all started sounding like, "Oh, this is getting too complicated. No, I'm gonna see if the induction phase works," and so I just stuck there.
Good for you. That was probably the best thing you could have done to actually stay on it because increasing those carbs was what threw me off the rails every time. Every
Mm.
single time.
So, are you a little bit like me in that, you're an abstainer, you're not a moderator?
Yes, yes, that's
Mhm.
exactly right. I am not a moderator, never have been. Like, I like to eat,
Mhm.
and I used to take huge bites of my baby sister's sandwich. I was never an abstainer. I was always the one who was like, "Oh, just give me just a little bite, please, please, please." And then I would take a huge bite. So,
Right, right.
yeah, I've never been able to moderate anything, which is, I mean, and we talk about, you said that you were dealing with alcoholism. I also come from a history of addiction
Mm.
because I'm not a moderator.
Right, right.
No, I'm not.
Yeah,
So,
like, when someone will say to me, "Well, just cut down the drinking, just have 1 glass of wine a night," and it's like, that that's not
mm,
in 1 glass of anything, 1 cigarette, 1, you know, square of chocolate is not even in my vocabulary.
exactly. Yeah, and people think that you're actually crazy when you live like that. I still get people saying, "Can't you just, have like why can't you just have one of this or have a little of that? Just don't you just want to taste it?" No, I don't want to
There's
taste
there's
it.
no one of anything. What are you
No.
talking about?
No, for me,
Yeah.
the cure for addiction is abstinence, period.
Mm,
I just
mm,
abstain. Unless I'm planning on going on back down that slippery slope, and I'm not. And I have not been, I do some stuff with like sweeteners and stuff. I drink some sweeteners in my coffee. I have the
mm,
chocolate electrolytes and stuff like that. So I still have some sweeteners. I still have some coffee. But when I think about, you know, eating vegetables, like there's a vegetable that I probably could eat, cabbage,
mm.
but I choose not to eat it. I just choose not to. Because I don't know ultimately if I'm gonna end up with two black eyes again. So I'm not
Right,
interested in that.
right, right. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I know that everybody here knows you. I see a lot of people from your channel in the chat. So, hey, you guys, I do want to acknowledge a couple of new members here.
Mm.
So, thank you for Sheila Adams for becoming a member of my channel. Definitely appreciate that. And then also we have Cook It Keto 3592. This became a member of Dave Mack's channel.
Ah,
Congratulations.
thank you very
That is
much, Cookie
awesome.
Keto.
Thank you. We appreciate you guys. And so there was something that was being said in the chat. Thank you to Keto Simple for letting people know to like and share and subscribe and all the good things. We appreciate that as well.
Mm.
Here we go. Having a house full of people who bring anything and everything into the house, cooking pasta and pizza and sweets and all that. So hard to avoid when it's everywhere. Any thoughts on this, Dave? Like, do you struggle with any of that?
Uh, now, it's not a thing for me. I think
Mm.
having that addictive, coming back to the addictive personality, I think, the addictive personality has pluses and minuses. And I think because someone with an addictive personality has to completely abstain,
Yes.
it's much easier to get to a point where you can be around all the stuff and not feel kind of tempted. Whereas
Yes.
if you're even slightly moderating, I think when you're faced with a lot of stuff, it can make it a little bit harder. So this is just my personal experience, but I think the abstinence has enabled me to be in a situation where I can see all the food and just go, you know what, not interested.
Right. Yep. The
Mm,
funny thing is, Dave, that I think I might have told you this when we met just a few weeks ago,
mm.
in that my daughter is here with her 5 kids, and they're in the kitchen right now making gingerbread houses.
Right.
And they're having pizza for dinner, but, I think I have really determined for myself that this is not food,
Mm,
um, and so I can look at it, and I don't even see, like, something that seems to be consumable to me. It doesn't look
right.
like food to me anymore.
Right. So, yeah, like speaking of something like gingerbread or pizza, like if they were cooking it
Mhm.
right now and like in another room and I could kind of smell it coming through, I could sit there and appreciate the smell, but at the same time also think it does smell a little bit artificial. So it's not hitting me in a way that, oh, I've got to eat it.
Yeah, I hear you.
Mm,
I hear you there. Because I just think back when with them baking cookies and all that stuff, making these gingerbread houses and sprinkles and frosting and all of that stuff, and I'm like, the smell of it doesn't even smell like food. It
right,
smells like
right,
chemicals to me.
right.
So it could be just me doing that mind over matter thing, or it could be that it's just a bunch of chemicals.
Mm.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, if you ever want to walk past a shop that smells like a chemical factory, walk past Krispy Kreme. Like they have the most noxious
Mhm.
smelling ingredients or chemicals that they put into their donuts. It's pretty bad.
That is something, when that red light was on, I was there. I was there when the hot light was on.
Mm,
Oh my goodness, yes, that is so true. We don't have Krispy Kreme in this area. They ended up closing down over here in Kalamazoo, but um I think about that sometimes when I'm driving past it in other cities, like, is the hot light on? But I haven't smelled it in years, so I can't remember what it smells like, but ew. I just can't I can
mm,
imagine that it really smells chemically at this
right.
point.
Mm,
Wow. So, I don't think anybody's new here, but for anyone who is new and has not met you yet, Dave,
mm.
how do you usually describe who you are and what zero carb life is?
So, I'm someone who, like, I'm just this average person that realized over two and a bit decades, 2.5 decades, that I am not good with carbs. And I over that time, I realized that eating carbs also kind of messes up my head so that it's easier to be addicted to other things as well. And so when I finally realized this after kind of banging my head off the wall for about 25 years, um,
Mhm.
I got angry and decided to start a channel to kind of share my story.
Yeah.
And I'm in Japan and quite isolated. So as part of getting the word out there on my channel about my story, I decided I wanted to kind of network with people around the world because there's no one in Japan doing carnivore, or very few people. So I started talking to people and interviewing them as a way to kind of collaborate and network, going on live streams and that kind of thing. And
Mhm.
my channel's just grown from there. So
You don't
um,
say.
I've got, I'm now at, I think, 1,486 interviews.
I'm working trying to get to some more people because I want you to make that 1,500 by the end of the year. So I'm talking to people like, come on. Some of the people that are in my network and saying, you guys need
Yeah,
to get on Dave's show.
you actually, yeah, you sent me a message this morning about that as well. So thank you for that.
Mhm. You are so welcome. I mean, when did you realize that this interviewing thing, like, became more than just a side project?
So it happened organically. Like, as I say, I was just doing it as a way to network or collaborate, that kind of thing. And along the way, the feedback momentum I was getting in the comments was just getting, it was just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And the comments were things like, "Me too. That happened to me too. My wife did this. That was my wife's experience after a stroke, after a
Wow.
hernia, after all these. And when you see the feedback, it feels like, well, this is a thing. This is not isolated to just me and I have a problem with carbohydrate. This is not just a few people randomly that have a problem with carbohydrates. This is basically everyone.
Mhm.
And everyone gets the same sort of fixes the same sort of thing. And so initially, once I had that realization, my focus was on, okay, we're just going to get the word out there and you know help reach more people so that it brings more people into this way of eating you know
Yeah.
um but it's changed, so it's 50% that now, but the other 50% is I believe these interviews are a good way of keeping people who are already carnivore on track.
That's it.
So,
That is
and this
it.
is also what I realized from the comments over time is like a lot of people, they'll be having a bad day and they're like, oh, this stressful thing just happened at work or with family or something like that. And I'm just going to eat the donut or I'm just going to have the milkshake or
Yeah.
whatever. And it's like if they've got someone they can go, oh, hang on, what's the interview that's going live today? I'll watch that first. If they just
Yeah.
got someone's story they can listen to,
Mhm.
that might be. enough to make them think, you know what, I'm not going to have the donut. I'm not going to have the thing. I'll wait till tomorrow.
That is amazing. You know, I was thinking about that today, because people are struggling so much right now. There's a lot, associated with going through this holiday season from an emotional standpoint. Some people
Mm,
are experiencing or have experienced loss, and they're dealing with the emotions of that. It's a high stress situation, dealing with upcoming, gatherings and get togethers and shopping and all of the different things that we're doing here in the US. And, I mean, I don't know, we're all around the world probably, trying to get ready for the Christmas holiday. And I feel like coming on your show and telling that story to the world can also be a way of keeping yourself accountable as well.
yeah. Yeah, I think that's true because, like, when you're putting yourself out there and you just say, well, this is my story, that can be a really good way to just feel like, well, now I've said it, I can't, you know.
Shouldn't go back. I shouldn't go back. Yeah, exactly.
One of the things I've also found, though, personally, and I think it seems to bear out with other people, is during a time like, say, Christmas, maybe it's a very emotional time for you, or, you know, you're going to be around foods that you don't want to partake in, that kind of thing. I
Right.
think one of the best things to do to avoid falling off the wagon is to keep yourself really, really busy. And by busy, I mean like actively doing stuff, whether that's walking or if you like running, whatever it is you like to do, just get as active as you possibly can. Because
Mhm.
when you're active, your mind gets away from those things that are constantly at you. Like, you know, that pink icing on that thing looks really nice, doesn't it? Like that, the strength of that message goes away.
Mhm.
And then you start to get, I find especially when walking, your mind starts to get flooded with a lot of kind of thoughts subconsciously that you don't have time to fit into your day regularly because you've got the
Mm.
TV going, you've got this going, you got that going. And I think so,
Yes.
get out, get active, walk, and I think that's a really good way of overcoming the cravings and the associated kind of emotions.
Mhm. I think just taking that beat, right? Take a beat
Mhm.
before you do something that you're gonna regret.
Yeah, yeah,
Take that
yeah.
moment to go ahead and I like to think about being intentional around food and eating. In my coaching practices, we're talking a lot about this as we are dealing with these holidays and in
Mm,
emotional eating. A lot of people are dealing with emotional eating right now. That being intentional is have a plan. Whether it's walking like Dave said, or eat before you go, all the different things that you can do to kind of prepare yourself to deal with yourself, basically,
right, right.
without falling off the cliff.
Mm,
Being more intentional about that, and intentional about your plan. If your plan is to walk, then get up and walk.
mm, mm.
And and make that a part of what it is that your strategy.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's really good.
Mm,
There's a comment in here that I want to bring up, and this
mm.
is really interesting. So this is Julia, and she
Hey,
said, "A
Julia.
year ago, you offered me 1 million to go off carnivore. Still would not take it because life and health are invaluable."
Well, that's awesome to hear, Julia, but also for you, but also for me, it's awesome as well because my wallet couldn't take that hit.
Right. Yeah, you're gonna owe her 1 million. Yeah, so good thing she
Yeah.
said no to that.
Mm.
I don't think I would take 1 million. 1 million would not be enough to get me to go back to what I was before. And basically trapped inside of my house with the
Mm,
severe debilitating anxiety and with two
mm,
black
mm.
eyes on top of that,
That's right. I mean, like if you're trapped inside your house from the anxiety, like I would think no amount of money is worth s- putting up with that, right? Because you
Right.
can't enjoy the money anyway.
Exactly.
Mm.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. So let's talk a little bit about how carnivore has impacted you. Beyond your physical,
Mm.
mental, emotional, and social changes, what has been some of the biggest changes that you've experienced?
Um, I think one of the things that cleared up for me, I think, is I think over my life I've had the kind of this very low level kind of constant depression. I don't think
Mhm.
it's never been anything serious, never anything that required medication, but I just kind of this very kind of the sky's falling down, everything's crap kind of level of depression, and that's cleared up. Um, I'm still, a glass half empty person, but that's just my
Me too.
personality, you know,
That's too
yeah.
funny. That's me too, Dave.
Yeah. So, and I think that's part of because of my job always involved risk mitigation. I think that it just comes hand in hand with my job. But
Mhm.
the I think one of the main things is calmness that's come over me,
Mm,
and the ability to kind of stand back from situations and not get like emotionally tied up in them. And the example that I always use about this is when I'd be working on a project, I would get really emotional about it, and my ideas would be the best ideas, and everyone has to accept my idea for the way this project runs because, like, your idea's terrible because you haven't thought this through properly. You're not thinking about the long-term implications of doing it this way, blah, 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 blah. So I get so emotional about it and so invested in my ideas being accepted and the way that I think the project should be handled being done that way. And having this calmer approach to things and less emotional approach to things has made me actually look at stuff like that and step back and go, you know what? Who cares? I don't care. Like, it's not if my idea gets accepted, what does it matter? It doesn't matter. Like, at the end of the day, it's not like I'm going to get a gold watch someday from my company and blah 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 blah. So yeah, it's enabled me to kind of step back and just look at those kind of really emotional situations, and that could be a family thing as well, or with friends or
mhm.
whatever, and just go, you know what? It's not that important. It doesn't actually matter.
Wow. That is profound. Like, that is something that we could all aspire to and that's something I have this question like, was there anything carnivore took away from you that you didn't expect? And I'm thinking this might be the answer to that question. Like, who knew that
Took
that
a
was gonna who knew that that was gonna take away
the thing that it did take away physically that I didn't expect was the arthritis in my knee.
Mhm.
You know, because
That's
the
awesome.
day that I started running out of necessity and realized it didn't hurt anymore was just like, it was amazing.
Man, I'm waiting for the day. I am waiting for the day for my knee to stop hurting, but, you know, it's bone on bone. I don't know if it's gonna I don't know. I've been doing this for I'm a little bit behind you. I'm almost 3 years. So
Right.
maybe I just need a little bit more time, because the body, although it is an amazing healing machine, it definitely can take time.
Mhm.
Definitely can take
I
time.
I think what I've learned from speaking to so many people and also from the comments that I tend to get on the channel is everything for each person is so individual and, like something that feels like it's never going to improve. It will, but it's just, your body works in
Mhm.
mysterious ways, you know?
Indeed it does. Indeed it does. So, at any point did you like think, this is crazy, I'm not doing this, or have resistance to trying it?
No, because I just fell into it. Like, because I'd been low carb so many times before over
Yeah.
that 2.5 decade period that it was like I just knew that I would have the main thing I was doing this for was self-control. And I just
Mm,
knew getting the carbs out of my diet would improve my self-control. And so it was never really a question of I don't know if this is right for me or anything, because I'd had so much experience with it going on and off over the years. Um, so yeah, I've never, and sorry, I've kind of banged on a little bit too long. I've forgotten exactly what your question was, but yeah, I never really doubted things.
yeah. I think that's really wonderful actually because so many people are like I've had people reach out to me and say, "Oh, I'm interested in trying carnivore." And I'll say, "Yes, that's great. Let's have a conversation." And they're like, "But you don't eat any fruit?" "No, we don't eat any fruit." "You don't eat any vegetables?" "Nope." I never hear anything from them ever again because
Mm,
people are afraid to try it. And so I think that's really great that you were able to do it without any fear. I thought it was crazy when I first heard about it. I mean, I didn't
mm,
fall into it like you. I watched Dr. Barry do it. And I was like,
mm.
he didn't die, so that's great. um, but
Was it
yeah,
almost like he's doing something to get more subscribers or more viewers or something? Maybe that's why he's changing up his diet.
maybe,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah,
Um,
that's interesting. I never
but
thought about it that way, but yeah,
but
could be.
you know, the thing for me is everyone needs to everyone needs to actually try it, you know. And
Mhm.
there's no convincing someone who's still in the balance, eat the rainbow, kind of everything in moderation paradigm, because they're never going to understand the perspective you have once you start eating this way.
Right.
So if someone just thinks it's crazy, doesn't want to do it, whatever, I mean, you can't really argue with them.
Yeah.
Um, but if someone says, "Oh, look, it sounds ridiculous, but I'd give it a try," I think the answer to that is just do it for 90 days.
Hmm.
You can always go back, but
Exactly.
after you've done it properly for a full 90 days, you will not go back.
Exactly. And that is why I chose 90 days for my coaching. I'm
Mhm.
like, you have to do 90 days because you're not going to realize the level of benefits. Now, there's still a long way to go after the 90 days, right? From a benefits perspective. But
Right.
you're going to see so many amazing changes within the 90 days that it's like, I've had people do 7 days, right? I had a number of people say, "I'm going to try it for 7 days." 7 days, 7 days, 7 days, 7 days. Some of them are still doing it today, after they've tried it for 7 days, but that is not my recommendation. I think you should commit to yourself to a full 90 days,
Mm.
um, because I think that's where you're really gonna see the benefits of it and determine whether or not you really, really wanna go back to what you were before.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Um, and I think depending on where you're at, you're going to see more rapid improvements than more rapid or more slow improvements. Like,
Mhm.
for example, if it comes to weight, if you've got more weight to lose, you're probably going to see faster results when you first get started. Um, but I think one thing that most people will experience early on, and it can be something that will keep them going initially, is the improvement you get with sleep and energy.
Right.
It's almost like your body as soon as you stop with the ultra processed food and the carbs, it's like your body almost goes, all right, so I can stop spending all my time trying to clear this crap out of my system.
Exactly.
Now I can start functioning. And it's
Mhm.
like that first 24-hour period without carbs, it's like your body kind of settles down and goes, oh, this has been
Yep.
50 years and I've never not
Mhm.
had a break, and finally
Oh
I'm
my
getting a
gosh.
break.
Think about that. I mean, that's literally what we are doing to ourselves with food from birth, literally
Right.
from birth, right? That we are, we're giving our babies baby formula where the base is sugar. And the
Right.
baby is getting started in life with this high sugar state, high
Yeah.
insulin state, and then just going through the rest of their life through that with that same thing until they find carnivore someday.
Yeah. It's a little bit crazy when you think about it,
It
right?
is
So
very
you can
crazy.
imagine 200 years ago,
Mm-mm-mm.
a baby's born and the mother's unable to breastfeed and the doctor's like, It's okay, we can sort this out. Just can you get me some oil that's been washed in a petroleum byproduct, mix it with some sugar, and we'll give that to the baby, and the baby's gonna be fine."
Oh
It's
my
like,
gosh.
everyone would be looking at you like, "Are you mental?"
Mhm.
Mm,
Yeah, right. I mean, that's exactly what's happening. It's like so crazy.
mm,
So crazy. All right, let's talk about zero carb life.
mm.
What point did you realize that this channel was getting real momentum? Because you hit how many subscribers do you have now?
It's about 107,000.
Wow, that's so
So,
amazing.
the shine's kinda gone off the number of subscribers, right? Because everyone's just trying to get to that 100,000, and then after you
Mhm.
get there, it's like, 1,000,000 so far off. I don't care anymore. Um, so, um, yeah, what made me I think there were a couple of stages. The first was, when the interviews started taking off and I was getting those comments like, "Yeah, me too, this happened with me."
Mhm.
Um, but then at the beginning of 2023, I put out a video just talking about what had happened with me and the improvements that I'd gotten, and I had a side by side in there about me walking and that kind of thing to show the difference,
Mhm. Mhm.
and that just went ballistic, and that ended up getting about 500,000 views,
Wow, that's
and I
awesome.
was just like, "Oh, okay, so people are interested in it." Of course, there were some hate views in there as well, and
Of
there were
course.
some comments that I had to remove, but, from some particularly angry vegans that need a
Oh my
steak,
gosh.
but, other than that, yeah, it made me realize that, okay, well, we need to keep talking about this.
Yeah, so many people are suffering. They're suffering like needlessly. I get so worked up because people are literally dying of things that are food related, and all you have to do is change your way of eating and live and thrive. It's
Mm.
so sad to see this happening over and over and over again, where people are just dying
See, the
from
the
terrible stuff.
there's and the problems with this are, like, first, these people are addicted and don't realize they're addicted.
Right.
See, that's the thing. If you're addicted to drinking or you're addicted to smoking, most people might deny that they're an addict, but deep down, they know that there's a
Mhm.
problem, you know?
Right.
But, not many people realize this with food, you know? And
Mhm.
food is essential. You have to
Right.
eat.
Yes.
And so people won't admit the addiction or don't understand that they're addicted. And also, their majority of the quote unquote experts that are out there are invested in miseducating them. You know,
Yeah.
like if I can understand this in a way. I don't think it's right, but I can understand this in a way. There
Mhm.
majority of doctors and researchers and cardiologists and lipidologists out there are invested in maintaining the status quo because they didn't go out and get student loans that they had to carry around for years just for some YouTube upstarts to come along and tell them that
Right.
they're wrong,
Exactly. Yep,
and
yep.
damage their ego like that.
100%. Yep, yep. You think about this. I was just thinking about this while you were talking about these sugar-free Oreo cookies. Did you see that? They came out with
Oh,
some
so yeah,
0
someone
sugar
posted that on Facebook
Oreo
today.
cookies. I'm like, "What? What is an Oreo cookie? It's not food."
Right. So it's like we had this thing that's not food that had a lot of sugar in it. And
Mhm.
what we've done is we've taken that not food thing and we've removed the sugar and made it even more not food for you.
Right, exactly. Give you some maltodextrin so that you
Yeah.
can is it maltodextrin the one that gives you the makes you go to the bathroom?
Right. And
No,
see, that's the thing.
maltitol,
And
maltitol, that's the one.
multitol. And so that's the thing. Now they'll have to put a warning on the package that says excess consumption may have a laxative effect. And it's
Exactly.
like, no, oh, but that's fine because there's less calories in it.
Right, and no sugar.
Wonderful.
0 sugar. That was just mind-blowing to me, like, I mean, that's the same thing that happened with keto, right? We talked about that at the beginning of the show, like, with keto, they came out with the Atkins bars and the keto treats and those Quest bars, which were super delicious, but they were not food. They were just
Right.
not food. So, that
Think about it, right? If wild animals could reason, so if lions and tigers and hippos and giraffes could reason, they
Mhm.
would look at us and they would think, what are they doing?
Yes, right.
These
Yes.
people are insane.
Yep. I mean, and G says this all the time on our Hey Sister Girls show on Monday nights that we are the smartest, stupidest people she knows because we just basically are the only species that is confused about what to eat, like
Yeah,
not eating our natural diet.
exactly. What other species goes, well, I've eaten that gazelle, but I need something that's a different color to, make up my rainbow for the day. Or,
Exactly.
uh, uh, everything in moderation. I shouldn't have that second wild boar today because, that's probably too many calories.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, smartest, stupidest people we know, that just are so confused. We're so confused.
Mm, mm.
Keto Simple says our biggest advantage might just be our downfall.
Well
Yes,
said, Dustin. Yeah.
exactly. We definitely, let's see. This one says how vegans think. Lions would eat plants too if they knew the science.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh
If
my
they only
gosh.
knew the
If they
science,
only knew
those
the
stupid
science, yeah,
lions.
they could reason, they
Mm,
would figure out that they should be eating spinach too.
yeah. And I'd love to see that image of a lion kicking back eating an apple.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I just can't even see it. So, Aid Larson is saying, "Humans smart enough to make our own food and dumb enough to eat it." Exactly. Exactly.
Mm,
My gosh. Yeah, 100%. So, I wanna ask you this question. You've
mm,
heard almost 1,500 stories.
mm.
What patterns, like when you start hearing somebody's story, what patterns say, this is what's going to happen next? Like what patterns stand out to you as you hear these stories now?
Um, ba mental health gets better. If there was instability, that gets stable. Um, the ability to kind of reflect on the past and go, I don't know what I was doing. Like,
Mm,
how did I get into that situation? And one of the biggest things that it becomes every day now because it happens so much is like type 2 diabetes goes away,
mhm.
you know, and people say, oh, it's only in remission. And that's like saying, well, your broken leg's only in remission until you go and stand in front of that oncoming bus again,
Exactly.
Uh, it's like, well, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna go back onto the highway. I learned my lesson,
Mhm.
you know. Um, and vision improvements.
Mm.
And I mean, I think vision improvements are a massive thing because you can take away a lot from a person and they can get by, but when you take away someone's vision, that's a really negative thing. That's a really bad thing.
Yeah.
Um, and MS,
Mhm.
I've got an MS playlist that's got about 25 interviews in it now.
Wow. Amazing. So many diseases get better,
Mm,
go into remission, are cured on this way of eating. It's absolutely incredible the variety of different issues that get resolved on carnivore.
mm,
And so, I mean, that makes a lot of sense that that you're seeing patterns of healing.
mm, mm, mm.
That's really the main pattern, whatever it is that ails you, almost.
Mm,
Like Dr. Berry says, that like if you got your leg amputated or something like that, you might not grow back a new leg, but
right.
but almost anything that ails you is going to get better on this way of eating, which is absolutely incredible. It is completely unexpected and unbelievable. And the thing that I think about a lot of times is what could get better that would make you try it? You know what I mean?
Mm,
If you have type 2 diabetes or if you have MS, you have whatever the ailment is, and it could get better by changing the way you eat. Would you be willing to try it? That is a question that I think about a lot.
right. And I think that's a very good question to pose to people to kind of get them interested in trying it. But I think
Mhm.
one of the things has to be you first have to get acknowledgement from the person that they believe that food could and could be making them sick.
Mhm.
Because I think one of the problems that we have as far as trying to spread this information is that a lot of people don't believe that food is a problem, or they don't believe it can have that much of a problem. Because a lot of people will be thinking, well, if that could make me sick, why are they allowed to sell it?
Right.
Right.
Yep.
And they don't realize that, well, because of lobby groups, because of people wanting money, because of, all that kind of thing.
Mhm.
And, like in the US, there's a list, the GRAS list, the generally recognized as safe list for all the things that can be put into food. And it's
Right.
like, that doesn't mean it's safe. That
Right.
just means it hasn't killed enough people yet.
Exactly.
Right? It hasn't been
Exactly.
shown that it, actively kills people.
Yeah, so here's the thing they told me. They said, you've seen my picture with the 2 black eyes.
Mm,
Um, that they told me that was not food related, and I went to many doctors, many, dermatologists, and they said it's not food related, and, basically take these creams, ointments, and, take these, courses of steroids, and basically it's never going away.
right.
So come to find out, 100% food related. And a
Mm,
lot of issues are related to food, like the foods that you're eating that are causing your problem.
mm. Yeah. I think, to be honest, that when a doctor is prescribing steroids, that is basically an admission they have no idea what's going on. That's
Exactly.
them saying, "I give up.
Mhm.
Take this thing that'll make it disappear so you stop coming into my office." Mm.
Exactly. And it will only disappear for a short time. I mean, I've taken so many courses over the years that it's like and it comes raging back, even worse than before. Steroids are, horrible.
Mm,
I would never wanna have to take that again.
Mm.
But, yeah, so, I mean, I think that is, that I love hearing that so many people are healing. I mean, and that's probably why in your comments, they're like, "Me too, me too, me too, me too." Yeah,
Mm.
this is me too.
Mm.
Um, and so what is something that you believed early on that you no longer believe?
Um, that's a good question. What's something that I believed early on that I no longer believe? Um, w- I I think I believed that people people would get out of the way of their ego and focus on facts when they're talking to someone about how to manage their health.
Mm,
And I
mhm,
don't think that's the case because, like, when you look at nutritionists, dietitians, when they're still preaching the, high carb, low fat kind of thing, right?
mhm.
Many of them must realize that what they're preaching doesn't work because it's not like as a population we're getting healthier, right? So something's obviously wrong.
Right.
We're eating less meat. We followed the guidelines. We're eating less meat. All this kind of thing. We did everything, um, and still we're not getting healthier. And they're not able to kind of push their ego out of the way for a moment and go, hang on. So people aren't getting healthier. The clients that are coming to see me are not getting healthier,
Right.
right? And all I keep thinking is they're not following my advice, right? And so that means I'm assuming 100% of people are not following my advice. So maybe I should sit back and think about this a little more critically.
Yeah.
And I guess that's probably the way to sum it up best is I thought that people were able to engage in more critical thinking
Mhm.
than has proven out because you see it on X all the time. The high profile doctors can't even critically think.
Wow. That's too bad. It's too
Mhm.
bad, and I think it's, they've been taught not to think, right?
Mm,
Not to, I mean, I will say it this way, taught to prescribe medicine.
mm.
Um, and so, I think about people like, Laura Russell, her,
Yeah.
Nurse Laura, who is a very critical thinker and has
Mm,
been
mm, mm,
that way, just curious, a curious person. And
mm,
so, realizing that Dr. Tony Hampton, and a lot of these doctors who have just basically understood that what I'm doing is not working.
mm,
What I'm
mm.
doing is not working. And so what can I do differently? What should be
Yeah.
done differently?
Well, see, that's why I have so much respect for doctors like um, Tony Hampton and Ken Berry and Anthony Chafee
Mhm.
and so on and so forth, because they have they have chosen the most difficult path they possibly could.
Right. Yes.
They have looked at what's happening and they've said, you know what, the results are not consistent with what they're telling us they should be. Let's think about this critically. And then they've realized that eating some level of ketogenic diet is much better for the general population. And they're outspoken about it. So they're
Mhm.
literally and figuratively going against the grain.
Yes.
And the like all of their peers are basically gonna be against them, right? So
Yes.
they're basically saying, this whole worldwide collection of peers that I've got, I'm gonna say the exact opposite of what you're saying, and, I'm because this is what, um, I believe.
Mhm. That's some scary stuff, I tell you. It really, really
Mm,
is. I've been
yeah.
talking about the fact that I mean, and here I mean, I'm just a regular old grandma over here, trying to shout into the void
Mm,
and tell
mm,
the people that it's the food that's your problem and help people to decide to change their lives with food. And
mm,
so, yeah, I can imagine how difficult that is. I think about Tim Noakes and all that he had to
mm,
go through. It was really, really horrible. If you guys have not heard of Tim Noakes, you should do a little research on him because he went through a lot
mm,
um, for shouting into the void about
mm,
food and nutrition and really changing his entire paradigm about food and, you know, carbohydrates and exercise. When I say athletes, and what athletes should be having as they're doing
mm.
their work.
Well,
So,
and here's what I respect about Tim Noakes. He didn't just say, "Oh, I think the advice we've been given is wrong, guys. Let's let's focus on this low carb way of doing things." He wrote a book
yep.
talking about carb loading and all this kind of thing,
Yes, he did.
and then stood up and said, "I was wrong. Everything I said was wrong."
Exactly. How
That
brave is that?
yeah, that takes a
Incredible.
lot. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely incredible. People are talking about Ben Bickman. Yeah, there's some really great professors and doctors, physicians, MDs out there that are doing the work to try to bring this message to the community. So it's so amazing. I am not going to hold you, Dave, because I know you got a hard stop. But I want to just talk about what is it
Mm.
that's going on with you and with your channel right now? What are you looking for? What's next for you?
What's next? I don't know. Like right at the moment, I'm not looking much further ahead than, what's the next interview kind of thing. So, just more interviews and trying to spread the word as much as possible and keep people on track as much as possible. And yeah, so just as a quick little self promo, if anyone wants to share their story, I'd love to have you on. You just need to email me at realzerocarb@gmail.com.
Real zero carb at gmail.com. Awesome. Yes, you guys come on there. Let's help him meet his goal for the year, which is 1,500 interviews. So we want to make sure that that happens. Dave, I appreciate you being here tonight. Thank you so much for coming back on and meeting with me again and hanging out. It's always a pleasure to chat with you.
Cheers. It was really good. I enjoyed the chat. Thanks very much, Robin.
You're welcome. All right, you guys. So we're going to wrap it up for tonight. I do want to mention to you guys that CG Health Coaching is going to be starting a cohort, accepting a limited number of folks for my January World Carnivore Month cohort. If you are interested in, getting somebody to hold your hand while you are trying to walk this journey, 90 days is the commitment. And so, if you're interested in finding out more about that, you can definitely check out my website at carnivorousgrama.com. And I would love to have a conversation with you and see how we can help you meet your goals. All right, Dave. We'll see you next time.
Cheers. See you guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.